Merry Christmas, guys. Happy holidays. Welcome to the first video in the Holiday Hop series that is being hosted by me and Colleen at Colleen Sews and Chat, and Sylvia at You and Me FPP are also participating. We're going to have 12 videos over the course of the next 12 days with gifts that you can make for Christmas or for the holidays for your family and friends in case you don't celebrate Christmas and celebrate anything else, Hanukkah, Chanukah, Kwanzaa. And the first video is going to be these. This is a wallet pattern that I wrote, and I'm going to walk you through how to make it. And when the video's over, please feel free to look in the description box. The pattern will be in the description box for you. There's nothing that you have to print out. It's all written, so you can just pull it, open it up, and work straight from your computer to make this if you want to make some for gifts. They're a quick, easy sew. I've made 4 of these in no time. I need bunches because I have a lot of grandkids. So enough talking. Let's get started on the sewing. All right. So I have already cut and interfaced my fabric, and we are using 10-inch squares. This is 2 pieces of 10-inch fabric. I have a blue, kind of a blue-green with paws on it. And then I have this for the outside of my wallet. I really like this. This is the Doggone It fabric line. And I will give you the measurements in the video, but the pattern will be down below. This first piece is 8 by 10. This is 8 by 10 for you. Like I said, I'm using a piece that doesn't have a direction. If you do, you'll want to be careful how you place this so that your directional fabric is right side up on the back of your wallet. I'm also using a piece of fabric that is 5¼ inches tall, folded in half. I have a piece that is, let me look at my directions over here, 2¼ inches tall and one that is 2½ inches tall. And I've made quite a few of these, so I'm doing things a little differently than I did in my live. I have interfaced the back of all my fabric. I have made sure the interfacing does not go into the seam allowances because that makes the seams really thick. Also interface the inside of this fabric, leaving the edge without interfacing so that we don't have extra in the seam allowance. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 pieces over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew an 1/8 of an inch top stitch on each one. So let's move over to the sewing machine and do that top stitch. Here we are at the sewing machine. 1/8 of an inch top stitch. For me, I'm using my 1/4 inch presser foot, and I'm just keeping my edge right along the center of that 1/4 inch presser foot. Now these pieces are 10 inches wide, which is a little bit big for what we want, but we can trim it down when we get to the final step on this. And I'm not even going to cut my thread. I'm just going to go ahead and put the next piece in here and do the exact same top stitch width on it. But get everything looking nice and similar. And it gives you a more professional look on your gift that you're making. All right. And last, we're going to take the piece that I folded over, and on the folded edge, we're going to top stitch that at 1/8 of an inch as well. So let's do that here. And just go slow, do this at your own pace. It'll look better if you take your time and make it a nice straight seam. You don't have to use pieces from a layer cake like I did. You could use any 2 pieces of fabric that you like, or You could make every pocket a different color if you wanted. All right, so there's the piece that's folded over. And then I'm going to take and match up the bottom and the sides on these edges. And I'm going to baste lined up right along the sides and across the bottom of my pocket piece. And that's what I'll probably call this in the pattern for you guys. It's the pocket piece. You don't need a very big hem. You're actually trying to get inside the hemline. So if you're going to do a 1/4 inch at the end, which is what I'm going to recommend, then you want to make sure that your stitch line is at 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just double checking. So I have fabric not quite lined up at the bottom. Just make sure you catch all these edges. And you could actually do the sides a little bit wider if you need to. Mine's feeling like I missed something, so I'm gonna make that just a hair wider. Okay, and now what you want to do is check and make sure that you did get everything caught. And then I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to finger press it just to give myself that marking. I've got my pencil right here. And I'm going to take my ruler, make sure that my line is lined up along my seam and along that center. And I'm going to draw just a quick little line down there. I just did it with pencil. That will wash out if you wash it before you give it. Or if you're using a darker thread, it won't show anyway. I'm back stitching at the beginning and the end of my stitching. Well, it's going to take some abuse. Okay, let's clip our thread right there. Now I'm going to bring in the other piece, and I want it so that it's turned so the 10 inches is this direction. So I've got my 10 inches this way, my 10 inches this way. And I'm going to once again baste. Notice this is face up and this is face up. There's my interfaced edge. I have a little bit of extra right there because I wanted to make sure that edge stayed secure. Once again, I'm going to baste. Now there's 2 reasons for basting this. One is so that everything stays together. And the other is so that when you do the bottom of your wallet, when you finish the final stitching, you can make sure that you've stitched and included all of that stitching inside your seam allowance, so nothing will show on the outside. And I'm going up right here where I did this stitching. And I'm back stitching that down. The next step is to take the top fold and fold it so that it faces toward the pocket. So you've got the pocket inside of the right sides of the fabric. And I'm going to put 2 pins in here to make sure that everything stays folded down where I want it. I'm making sure they are well outside of my stitch lines. All right. Now we're going to turn this over. You can see my 2 pins right here. And I am going to measure my wallet. It's going to be 8.5 inches inside that stitch line. Where did my pencil go? So here's the wallet. This ruler happens to be 8 inches long. So there's 8. And I want to go down another 1/2 inch. I want to go down another inch because I want seam allowance there. And so I have marked that with my pencil on both ends. And then I'm going to take, I've got a prescription bottle here. I'm going to take the cap off that prescription bottle and I'm going to round my corner. So I want to bring it here. Leave it inside my seam allowance. And just go around that corner. See what I'm doing? Do it down here as well. Lining up with the line I drew and the seam allowance that I already have. You can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be a prescription bottle. That was just something that I had handy that I could do this with. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here at the top edge. I'm not sewing across that fold. I'm just starting right there, lined up with my line. I'm going to come down here, follow my rounded edge, and make sure that I stay inside that seam line. Then I'm going to backstitch. I'm going to leave myself several inches there because I'm going to turn out with this. Now I can take my 2 pins out of here. I mean, this is so simple and easy. Now I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to trim as close to my seam line as I can get to remove bulk. I'm not trimming the area where I'm going to need to fold it in. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to trim over here. Again, as close to the seam line as I can get to eliminate bulk. Sure if it's the scissors today or if it's my hands. We're going to assume it's my hands. It might be because of the bulk. Okay. The reason that I had you baste everything together, you want to reach in here and you want to make sure that your pockets are up. And then you're going to turn your wallet the right side out. And I like to start up there in that corner and push my finger through there because that makes it easier to come forward. And those curved areas at the bottom turn out so much better than trying to square all of that bulk. All right, and you can use your fingers to turn this all out. I happen to have a chopstick right here, and I'm going to put my chopstick up in there and make sure I get the last of those corners all turned out. Don't push super hard you don't want to push your seam out because you did cut your seam allowance really thin. And you may have little boys who would rather have the squared corners. That's fine if you want to do that, and do squared corners. I just found that they were very difficult to make look good in this pattern, so I decided that I would do this. All right, now here's where you're going to have the only really bulky part of trying to sew this. I'm going to turn over the opening here at the bottom, and I'm going to make everything match. I'm going to make the bottom line of the front piece and the bottom of the back piece match together. And I want to make sure that I have folded in all the way so that that's all down. All right, so now I'm folding everything and using the iron to make it stay where I want. Iron that bottom edge down. Then we get the sewing machine. I'm going to use my fingers to make sure that that stays in there. And this is bulky, so you're not going to be able to go fast. You want to go slow. And it might help to have a jeans needle or a heavier duty needle on your machine. Now I'm just going very slowly, using my fingers to make things stay where I want them. Especially right here at the rounded corners, it's bulky. But just go slow. Don't push. I'm using a 3 stitch length here. Get up here to the top. You've only got 2 layers of fabric here. It's actually you're just top stitching the fold. Think a little quicker up here. And you're going to come back down this side. Again, you may need to go slow, because this side is bulky too, especially where those pockets are all stacked up. And I'm not back stitching, but I did stitch over my original stitching by a few stitches. I'm just going to cut that loose thread off real quick, if it's going to let me. Down here on top of our wallet, I'm going to bring my iron back in, and I'm going to press both sides. Oops. Then I'm going to fold my wallet in half. And I'm going to apply more heat again. I'm going to do that from both sides. warm. Okay, so we have a cute little wallet made for another one of my grandkids. I think they're going to love them. And let's make sure it holds what we want it to hold, right? There's our money pocket. Got a little $5 bill in there. Got our card pocket. I could have actually gone shorter than I did, but it'll hold your cards. It'll hold some money. And you could really probably go down to 7 inches instead of 9. I went a little longer because I went a little longer because I wanted to make sure that money and cards would fit in there. So, okay, guys, so now that we've made a wallet, quick wallet, took me, what, 10 minutes even showing you what I was doing. Let me make sure to remind you, this holiday hop is going on for 12 days. My friend Sylvia at You and Me FPP and Colleen at Colleen Sews and Chat are also participating. There may be some surprise people in there, but keep your eye out for the thumbnail that's on this video. We'll all be using the same one, so you can follow along with us. And I will put a schedule up in the community tab on my channel so you know whose video is coming up which day. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.